Couldn't have been a better first win for the Sabres. 8 goals. 8 goals. Sabres beat the Senators. We'll talk about it coming up here on Locked On Sabres.
You're Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody, and welcome into this Locked On Sabres podcast here on a Wednesday night. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. You can check us out on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe there. Want to become a part of our Locked On Sabres text club? You can do that as well. Head over to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnSabres. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app right now. Visit FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Sneaky Joe DiBiase after a win. Haven't been able to do that in a long time, especially a game that is still meaningful because that wasn't necessarily happening at the end of last year all the time. It's nice to have a W in the win column. The Sabres blow out the Senators. Blow out that work. 8-4 over Ottawa. There is a lot to get to from this game. The amazement of the score at the end of it and the way that it played out, the ebbs and flows, the emotional changeover of being mad after the goal that goes in for Ottawa just between the legs of Alex Lyon, the challenge not working out, the building getting a little hyped, and then the furious run in the second period, only to have them look like they're about to blow it early in the third period, and then immediately just a lot to get to on this game. It was a really, really fun game for the Buffalo Sabres. It really reminded me of, the score is indicative of this, of course, number one, but even just the ebbs and flows of the game, the emotional change, roller coaster. It was a 2022-23 Buffalo Sabres game through and through. That is a game that this team had a lot of a couple of years ago, and that's why that team was so fun. And here was a night where you really had that. I love that it happened against Ottawa. Ottawa's still one of those few teams left for me, and this is not for, I'm sure, everybody, because when your team is bad this long, it's kind of hard to get worked up over an opponent and really generate that hate. But I think I will always have that for Ottawa. Going back to 05-06 and 06-07, I don't necessarily have it when we're going into games, but once games begin against the Senators, I am like, oh, bleep these guys. I hate this team. Even though there's not many individuals on the team I hate, I actually don't think I can name one. I mean, Brady Tuch, when he's out there, is an easy player to dislike when he's on the other team, but he's not out there tonight. So it's the logo. It's not even the jerseys, right? I get these red alternates tonight for Ottawa, which, by the way, I thought were fine at the beginning, but as I saw them, like, the numbers are kind of hard to see. I liked the white at home. Love the white at home for the Buffalo Sabres. So that was a really cool feature. Lot to get to on today's show, and really, just diving right in on the game, it was a total change from what we saw in the first 3 games of the season. The Sabres, after scoring 2 goals in their first 3, score 8 on this night after scoring 0 power play goals on 11 tries in the first 3 games. The Buffalo Sabres scored 3 power play goals on 2 tries in this game. That is not a typo. That is what the official stat sheet says. And I guess I missed that. There were multiple penalties against Ottawa when we got down to that scrum in the middle of the second period where Giroux whacks Owen Power on the back of the leg. Power stands up for himself a little bit, throws some jabs in there. Scrum starts. Ottawa gets a couple penalties out of that. Buffalo only gets 2. So somehow, some way, the Sabres end up with only officially 2 power play opportunities and 3 power play goals for 150%, which is kind of funny to look at. And sure, one of those goals is the luckiest goal you'll ever see in your life. Jack Quinn with a prime scoring opportunity in the slot on the power play. Doesn't even come close to hitting the net, but he missed so bad that it ricochets off the glass off the back of the goaltender, Morellian. I'm never going to get that right tonight. It's late. Not used to doing shows this late. He was not good on the night. I mean, man, what a difference between Linus Ullmark and Morellian. I'm just going to go with Levi for tonight. But anyways, no Ullmark. That was big. I thought that was big. Part of why I went for the under on this game, even with it being only 5.5 goals, was that Ullmark was I thought going to play, and he did not, and that's a big difference. On this night, the goaltender goes 731 save percentage. The Sabres only had 26 shots on goal. 19 saves for the opposing goaltender is about as bad as it possibly gets. So Ottawa. Man, I bet that team to win the division. I picked them to win the division last week, and I told you I love their roster. And sure, Brady Tkachuk is out, and they don't have their goaltender tonight, but wow, what an embarrassing effort by the Senators to now drop to 1-3 on the season. That the Sabres might not have poured the shots on, and they might have got a couple lucky goals. The Quinn goal off the back of the boards, the Jason Zucker goal, which kind of deflects in off his chest or off his body. Sure, they got a little bit lucky, but they had quality scoring opportunities, and they had a lot of them. The Sabres were buzzing in this game. The energy they had in the second and the third period, they outplayed Ottawa for long stretches of this game, far more often than they did in the first couple of games. So while the shot totals don't look great, I thought the Sabres were the better team on the night. And some of those numbers do represent that. Shots on goal in this game, Ottawa does outshoot the Sabres 37-27, piling that up a little bit at the end. Power play I mentioned earlier, Buffalo 3 for 2, Ottawa 1 for 5. Shot attempts in this game, 78 for the Senators, 44 for the Sabres. Again, that's kind of the quality versus quantity and where the shots are coming from. The Sabres, 27 shots on goal out of 44 attempts. I mean, most of their attempts were getting through, a pretty good percentage. Whereas Ottawa, 37 shots on goal on 78 attempts is less than half. So Sabres by percentage were better there. Scoring chances, Ottawa 42, Buffalo 25. But the expected goals, and some of this is the power play opportunities. The Sabres got more than half of their expected goals on the night from the power play. Although Ottawa had more power play opportunities, so good job by the Sabres penalty kill, who also gets a goal on the night. 4.1 to 3.4 in favor of Buffalo for expected goals. But special teams was the name of the game tonight for the Sabres. They scored 4 of their 8 goals on special teams, and they scored their first four on special teams. Power play goal, for their first 5, Jack Quinn with the bounce goal in the first. Ryan McLeod shorthanded. That was the biggest play of the night. Absolutely the biggest play of the night, because that is a shift right after the Jake Sanderson goal where it's a 5-on-3 and Tuch's mad about a slashing call that was a little bit soft. The guy's stick did break. It almost looked like it fell into 2 pieces, though, more than it broke. So maybe Tuch had a little bit of a defense on that one. But either way, they go to a 5-on-3. Sabres kill the 5-on-3, but then Quinn stuck on the ice, and Sanderson is able to punch that goal home, a scrum in front. Sabres don't really, take men out in front of the net. Just squeaks through. I thought possibility for goalie interference, but I was not expecting that they were going to overturn that. Lindy was hot about it. The building seemed very frustrated at that point, and it was a little more directed towards the officiating, maybe a little bit more towards the Senators than the Sabres in this case. And the Sabres fed off that energy, and the goal they get from McLeod was massive because that energized the entire arena, energized the whole bench. I mean, the first 2 goals the Sabres had scored this year, the Zucker goal and the Tage goal in the first 3 games, it was like, all right, high five, we got a goal, yeah, let's go. Like, not a ton of energy. And this was McLeod scores and everybody erupts. Like, all right, let's go. And it was after a great effort by those 2, McLeod and Benson, on that penalty kill to get their chances. I mean, they almost scored before McLeod ends up firing a wrist shot into the net with the goalie out of position. Benson and McLeod, I mean, just a great job there. Both of those players had phenomenal nights. That was the biggest shift of the game, biggest goal of the game, I thought, because it really got the Sabres off and running. And then it's 3 goals in 3.5 minutes. Alex Tuch, who I thought had his best game of the season. I mean, it's going to be true of a lot of guys in this one. Jason Zucker with that bounce power play goal. Jason Zucker with another power play goal where he beats the goalie clean. Assists all over the place for Zach Benson and Josh Doan. Both those players end up with 3 on the night. Then we get to the third, and I'm worried. How could you not be? 40 seconds in, Shane Pinto makes it 5-3, and it's, that was quick. 2-goal game, a lot of time left. We've seen this movie before. It happened last year a lot. Let's see if they can be different here. They're supposed to be a better team at shutting plays down and being better in their own end. And Alex Lyon has looked good in goal. Like, all right, let's see it. And sure enough, a minute 35 seconds later, Lars Eller makes it 5-4. Double time. It's 5-4 now. Lindy calls timeout. And I tweeted this out to be half kidding. But, maybe it's true. I've called it the greatest timeout in the history of hockey. Again, I'm being snarky. I'm joking a little bit. I'm sure if I could find somebody will point me to an example. It's better, but the results hard to speak for. They kind of speak for itself how well it goes. Lindy calls timeout, and 17 seconds after they drop the puck, after the timeout, there's McLeod again. And this was a great play overall. Josh Doan, who Tuch called a dog in postgame. Make sure if you're ever tweeting that out, it's got to be DAWG on Josh Doan. Josh Doan has been the Sabres' most consistent forward through 3 games. He digs the puck out in center ice. Alex Tuch comes in on a rush with McLeod. And those two on a rush, because of their speed, are dangerous to the 2 defensemen. And they did push back the 2 defenders with their speed. And Tuch's able to drop a pass back to McLeod. Nice find. And McLeod with the finish. Really nice goal. Putting it over the shoulder of the goaltender. And he gets his second of the night. 6-4. Another big goal. Turn the tide. Don't give some belief back into everybody that you're going to close this one out. And then 45 seconds later, Jack Quinn gets his second. Him and Krebs coming in on a rush. Nice find by Krebs. A nice forehand, backhand, tuck it in by Jack Quinn. Nice goal by him. That was his second of the night. That one he actually, I thought, earned. And then the Sabres were able to, put the restraints on the Senators, keep them to the outside, bleed the clock, and get it down to the empty netter by Yuri Kulik with just over 3 minutes to go. And the Sabres win with an 8-4 win. Some individuals that I want to get to when we come back. Doan, we've already spoke a little bit about, and Zach Benson, who played his first game of the season. Those two did not score tonight, but huge games by both of them. Get to them when we come back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast is presented by Monarch Money. So most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that will bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch's built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNHL. Sneaky Joe DiBiase back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Sabres 8-4 winners over Ottawa. First win of the season. One of my texters sent it. I did not fact check this, but I'm going to run with it. I trust him. That the Sabres coming into the night, obviously 0 power play goals. No one in the league had less than that. That going out of the game, or when they scored their third power play goal, there were only 5 teams in the league that scored more power play goals than the Buffalo Sabres. That's how quickly it could change. We're still very, very early on, right? Two individuals that I want to get to that I thought had tremendous games. And one of them, they both kind of play similar roles on different lines. Josh Doan, Zach Benson. Benson playing his first game of the year. These two players right now, both playing in the top 6. Benson, I think at some point that was inevitable. He was a first-round pick, and while he was more of a third liner in his first 2 years, a little bit on the first line at the end of last year, not surprised to see him on the top line to start this year. While Doan, little bit more, I thought he'd be bottom 6. Maybe there's offensive upside. I'm not sure he ever was going to be a top 6 guy. Well, because of injuries, he's getting a shot up there, and it's going really, really well. Benson on that line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch, he has a clear, defined role. He is the dog of that line. He is a nightmare to play against. I mean, he's not going to punish you with his hitting or anything like that. But watch Benson away from the puck defensively. When defensemen are trying to break out of their own end, that guy is just always in front of them. They can't get by him. They can't get around him. He causes them to turn back so often. He doesn't always steal it. A lot of times he does actually cause the defenseman to come up towards him and then loop around because they don't like what they see or they feel like they're about to turn it over. Benson is just so good at that. He's always in your space, and that's just him being a step ahead. So that's Benson. Doan is doing the same thing. He's doing it a little bit differently. He's doing it with more physicality. He's doing it by just outworking and hustling. Benson might be doing it a little bit more with his mind. We've talked about that a million times. But both players are doing the same role on their top 2 lines. And on this night, it went beyond that. They created offense. Both players with 3 assists. 6 assists between the two. Neither scored. But very, very involved in a lot of these goals. These two players were awesome on the night. And for Benson, you know, a couple of his are on the power play. One, the Zucker goal, what a keep in. The first Zucker goal. What a keep in by Benson. I thought he didn't actually get it. Watch that playback. If you watch it from the original camera angle, not the zoom in camera angle, Benson is at the point. They're starting him on the point on the power play before he shifts down. And on this one, he still is at the point, but he flies in and he's able to just narrowly keep this puck in play. I mean, it was real close. By the way, I tweeted this out again. Benson's skating is 1,000% better this year. It is noticeable to me that he has gone from, like, statistically, one of the slowest players in hockey last year. I think he was one of the 5 slowest players in hockey last year by NHL Edge Stats. Through one game and the preseason games, he's totally faster. He's getting the pucks quicker. He looks more dangerous when he has the puck offensively. I'm really impressed with what the work he did in the offseason on that front. He's not bigger yet. The man strength isn't there. But he's got one of the 2 down. I think he improved the skating enough that's going to help big time. And then Doan, again, like Doan's been their most consistent player through 3 games. And Lindy loved his game tonight. He talked about that. I don't think Doan is going anywhere. I think he is in the top 6 until he stops looking this good. And Josh Norris being out for 2 months, Kulik would be the one that you would wonder, could he jump up and take his spot? Maybe if Kulik starts playing better. And Lindy did not want to give that to him tonight, by the way. Like, he got the question, like, did you like Kulik's game more tonight? And Lindy was like, it was better, but he's still not skating the pucks all the way. And I thought I agreed with that too, that there were a couple of plays where he got caught from behind that I didn't like necessarily. So Kulik jumping up in the top 6, maybe that would be for McLeod spot anyway, but maybe it would be for Doan. I don't think there's any circumstance where Josh Doan's coming out of their top 6 in the next little bit. And while I was somewhat open to him being better offensively, I was not expecting it at all. guys in the league for a couple of seasons, and, it's 19 points in 51 games, and he's a second-round pick. It's like, I don't know. Not a guy that I'm necessarily betting on becoming a 20-goal scorer, a 25-goal scorer. Beyond that, I'm not even sure. 3 assists tonight. So now it's 3 assists in 4 games, 3 points, 4 games. That looks a little bit better than where you were at with 0 before. But he's contributing to these goals tonight. And I'm seeing offensive instincts from him. I'm seeing skating. I'm seeing stick handling, vision. I don't know about a shot. I think I'd like to see more from that. There's nothing I've seen from Doan that makes me think he'll be beating goalies one-on-one from distance. I think he probably has to be a guy that will score in the gritty ways. But that vision and that intelligence in the offensive zone, you could be a playmaker. You could be a 20-goal, 40-assist guy as a ceiling, and that's perfectly fine. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know if what that stat line throughout there sounds completely ridiculous, or whether maybe that's even low for a ceiling. Very curious to see what he will become offensively as we continue here, and he's playing in these roles. He's getting power play time too. Power play time for Josh Doan. How many of the second Zucker goal, he got an assist on the power play. His other ones, though, were at 5-on-5. So great game by both of those two. Love them. And I think they're critical to getting the rest of those top 6 forwards going. Right now, Thompson, Tuch, McLeod, and Zucker. All right, when we come back, the vibe's increasing. What's up next? And some of the lineup stuff. The win is nice, but when you kind of couple a win with, well, I'm getting these guys back too, like, you can instantly make yourself feel better. And this morning, no one felt great. So more on that when we come back here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I messed up big time on my bet of the night for Buffalo and Ottawa. Under 5.5. Sabres cleared that in the second period by themselves. Well, third period by themselves. They score 8. We got 12 goals. It went more than double the over-under total in this game. So we'll see what that number looks like going forward. If you want to check out all the odds on the Sabres, or you want a little bit of extra action to have a rooting interest in the game, or you're all over football right now, college football or the NFL, FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Because right now, new customers can bet just $5 and you get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Just pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets that you could use all across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Final segment here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. What is ahead for the Buffalo Sabres? Because you want to keep this momentum rolling. You want to keep the fan attitude rolling in this direction. Next up is not an easy one on paper. However, some up and down performances from the Florida Panthers. The Panthers, who lost tonight to Detroit by a 4-1 final, have now lost back-to-back games. They're missing a couple of their top players. That is Saturday. So a couple of nights off for the Buffalo Sabres. Saturday for Sabres and Panthers. Florida plays Thursday night. So tomorrow night against Ottawa, or against New Jersey, excuse me. Then they have one day off. So Sabres will be the more well-rested team. They're the home team for that game. So a couple of advantages you would hope help them out in that regard. And then I think we're getting closer. Talked to Lindy Ruff this morning at WGR, and he said there's a possibility we get Jordan Greenway by the end of the week, and that Michael Kesselring is progressing in the right direction. Hasn't started practicing yet, though. So I don't think Kesselring is a possibility for Saturday. I'm hoping he gets back soon, though. I'm excited to see Kesselring. Greenway, I'm not as excited to see Greenway back, but he'll be an add to this lineup. I think he will give you more than Beck Malenstein would give you. Maybe want to stop there, but that's the obvious replacement, or the obvious replacement is the guy who got hurt tonight, Justin Danforth. Injured tonight, did not return with a lower body injury, so that could just be one in, one out. And that I do believe is an upgrade. Greenway over Danforth. So Greenway coming back, Kesselring coming back. You get a win. Fans are a little bit happier. You got all these division games in a row. It's early in the season, and you got 6 straight division games. I mean, we didn't play this game yesterday on the show, but if I had said, would you take 4 out of 6, you would have said yes. I think I would have said yes. Now, after beating Ottawa, win 3 of the final 5. That's perfectly reasonable. And then you're looking at a pretty nice stretch over your division foes, and you're keeping pace on that front. So that's what's next up for the Buffalo Sabres. I still think Alex Lyon will continue to get the nod. UPL back practicing. He looks like he's getting closer to return. We'll see if he does a conditioning stint in Rochester. But in this game, even this game, Alex Lyon allows 4 on the night. Ottawa's expected goals was 3.44. So, it's not great, but it's not 3 goals above expected that he allowed. He's been fine. He's been even stellar at times, and I would keep rolling with Lyon. Keep him in a rhythm, and don't put Luukkonen in there until you're sure that he's 100% healthy. Buffalo and Florida coming your way this weekend. I think I covered it all. It was a great night. Great night to be in the arena if you took advantage of those $11 tickets. I mean, really, and we'll get into this, it changes a little bit after a win. So much attention paid to the Buffalo Sabres by hockey media. Everybody's talking about them. And I understand it. It's early in the year. Everybody's just getting their feet wet. The Sabres are a story, right? Like the drought and starting 0-3 and boos in the crowd, firing the GM chants in the crowd. Like, they should be a story in the league. What they've done here is historic. Nobody has ever missed the playoffs this long in a row. So they should be talked about on a national stage. And they were. Everybody was taking their turn. The Spit and Chicklets guys, Elliot Friedman, Jeff Merrick's of the world, like everybody's talking about the Sabres. And everybody was noticing tonight when they win, scoring 8. And some of those things that were mentioned, there was a lot of rumors in the last 48 hours about Tuch and his extension, about Dahlin and his loyalty maybe to the organization after his wife had that heart failure this offseason, and what the team did to support him and things like that. But where Tage might be in thinking about the long term here, and where Adams's job status is, where Lindy's status is. Like, there were just little blurbs and reports and rumors about all of this stuff. So I want to dive into all of that this week, especially now that we have Wednesday night to Saturday afternoon without a game. So stay tuned for that. We'll break a lot of that down one by one, and we'll go through it. And a win maybe buys everybody a little bit more time to not be angry. So that's coming up next. If you would like to check out more in the hockey world on all that's happening around the league, you can check out Locked On NHL Game Night. That is available wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can check it out there as well. And we will talk to you on, I guess Thursday afternoon. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for listening. Talk to you then. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.